because you have done these things. But the thing is, I never knew if they were done by design or by accident. Since we never knew this, I discussed with the general, but in case they are enemies, let's be ready. We never proved that they were enemies or not enemies. I remember on one occasion, I came up with a thing, are you a friend or enemy? Neither. What was I going to tell General Trudeau? I said, neither. He said, what the heck's that? Do you mean that we don't make the weapons or we make them? The logical thing of somebody with intelligence, no, we got to keep on making weapons, just in case they are enemies. We're responsible for the security of the nation. Like when Chris Wallace asked me one day on the TV, 2020, no, it wasn't 2020, it was his program. He asked me, he said, Colonel, tell us about the Cold War. I said, Chris, please, would you stop there? I'm not trying to be funny or anything. I don't know of any Cold War. Every war that I was involved in, even later, when it was supposed to be Cold War, was a hot war. People were shooting each other and killing each other. Tell these boys when those aircraft, when the MiG came out with a 30mm cannon, there was a Cold War. And I told him, this is not being funny, I don't want to answer you, this is the truth. So later he took me, we walked from the White House, and he had cameramen going alongside of us. And Chris Wallace stopped. And he said, Colonel, I'm just thinking what you said. And he said, now I can understand. You people were responsible for the security of the nation. You had to think that way. That there was no... How could you think that there was a Cold War when your own soldiers were being killed fighting the Russians on the borders? That wasn't a Cold War, that was a hot war. I told him, that's the only wars, unfortunately, that I've been involved in, Chris. I can't tell you about any such thing that was made up in the newspapers, a Cold War. There was no such thing. This is the same thing with what question you asked me. I got to tell you, Mauricio, there's no way in the world where I can tell you that they won't attack us. But from a soldier, I got to be ready for any attack that might come. If I'm not, I'm negligent, and I shouldn't be dressed in a military uniform. And that's the same thing that General Trudeau, who commanded the division at Port Chop Hill, who was a corps commander. Same thing. Got to be ready for every eventuality, otherwise you'll be destroyed, and your country will go with it. So this thinking, maybe you say, well, military men think that way. We had to think that way. As far as flying saucers came, we still had to, our thinking didn't change. It was the same thinking go over to them. Just in case, we're going to be ready. We didn't say in case we're going to be friends. We didn't care. Friends or enemies, we're going to be ready.
Let's just suggest.
It's logical.
All right. That one day they invade us. It's just a pure suggestion. It's just a speculation.
All right.
Is that possible that the end of the war will be determined by hand-to-hand combat? I mean,
I'll answer your question this way. You say they're going to invade us, maybe. Will they fight, if they're superintelligence, will they fight wars on our level? Will they fight with cannon and weapons or guns? Or will they fight us on another level? That's my answer. You want to hear more about that answer? Let's take one item. I don't say that they put it in this world or they made it, but it's a possibility. HIV appeared in this world in 1985. Some people say, well, it went back to animals in Africa. But it happens to be HIV in the human being is not the virus as we think is a virus. It's a living entity in itself. And it's in our bodies, and when you catch it, you die. It's a living entity by itself. If we kill HIV in the human being, we got to kill the living entity, which is we call a virus. won't a super race, a super intellect that won't fight us with stupid weapons that are not much more advanced than, say, the crossbow, with a gun and bombs and bombs? Why should they fight us on this? If they're super intelligent, they'll find another way to fight us, maybe on another level.
Okay, that's why I'm asking you. The final combat has to be eventually struggled between beings fighting hand to hand. That's my idea. In other words, you've been in different situations of war. Obviously, if you want to conquer a certain territory, and you race down everything with bombings and so far so on. But then again, your troops have to advance and go and conquer the place, isn't it? And maybe you can find enemies hidden somewhere, and it will be a confrontation, a very physical confrontation.
But when they come up with a confrontation, I don't think it'll be on our level.
But if they have to conquer territory, physically territory, that would be on.
Not necessarily. They don't have to do it with bombs and guns. I say they're an intellect is on another level. And I think we were foolish. Now, we thought this, and we had to do it because we didn't know anything else. Back in my day, we developed weapons of war. But they were advanced weapons of war, with laser and things of that type. Missiles, large missiles that we made. And we even tried to make a helmet that the pilot could guide the airplane by thought waves. We were starting to work on that. That's pretty much a different level than we're talking about fighting a war like we fought in Italy with bombs and guns. I'd be foolish to think, although we could do nothing else, we made weapons, but we tried to make advanced weapons that maybe we could reach them if they tried anything like this. But we're never sure that they would fight on our level. And I'm still not sure they'll fight on our level. Why should they if it's a super intellect? Fight us with bombs and cannons? They couldn't carry enough bombs and cannons in their spaceships to fight us. That's not the way they'll fight us. They'll fight us, they'll study our bodies, and attack us with something that they have, which there's no weight, it doesn't carry it on. And they could attack our... Look right now. If they attack us only on the level that destroy our immune system, like the doctor said, I just like committing suicide. Send somebody into space and comes back with his immune system. The first disease that attacks him will kill him because the body can't destroy it itself. This is what I think of super intellect. And I think it's logical. The super intellect will fight us on that level. And we're not sure what level they'll fight us. They're supposed to be far above us. What you describe, the battle you described to me, what we would do, move in that area, you're thinking of almost World War I. That's what I did when I was in Italy, because we didn't know anything else. We'd bomb a city, attack, counterattack, destroy with artillery, and then move in. That's all we knew, to fight like barbarians. I think if we give them credit, a little bit of credit for being a super intellect, they'll never fight us that way. It'd be stupid. And I don't think that they're stupid. If they were able to create an extraterrestrial biological entities, that's a creation of a super intelligence. See, it's all the maneuvers in space and all the dangers in space, it has solved the problem. That's the sign of a super intelligence. And if they fight us or destroy us, even some of these people you just told me to give these lectures and say it'll be this way. Unfortunately, they're thinking in our terms. They're thinking like human beings and not like them. The little thing that I said about the flashlight when I said, I was serious when I said that. I was like a stupid human. I thought the battery was dead. That's stupidity. That thing I got from space, and I sit there, and I'm supposed to be in charge, and I say, the battery's dead, and I put it away. What can be more stupid? Because I was, even in another case, my Answer was, stupid again, thinking like a human, what's in it for me?